It's been 6 years since we received our first usable folding phones, and the journey has been amazing. From what we thought as phones that will not really be usable to turning into trends that people do want to use these phones and slowly gravitating towards them, it's been a marvelous journey. And that's the reason why I have Oppo Find N here. It's been with us for some time. It's it's turned tables for a lot of other tech companies, and it's done that in a far lesser time as compared to other big tech companies out there. Is this phone still relevant to buy for you in 2025 is what we're going to talk about in this video. Welcome to the Cornea Impression, and this is Aurelius Coutinho. Speaking about the folding display, this is an 8.12-inch LTPO OLED display with 120Hz of refresh rate. And what they had also done is covered it with anti-glare protection, because of which this screen is surprisingly good to use outdoors. Now that's one thing that I've struggled with other folding phones, but on this one I did not. And when the phone is folded, the outside screen, which is a 6.62-inch OLED display with 120Hz of refresh rate, is quite usable. Now this form factor was one of the first introduced in the Oppo Find N series of phones, where you could essentially use the outside screen as your main display as well in case you're not unfolding the phone. Everything on the screen was usable. You could type your messages, which you couldn't do on the older generations of phones. You could do it on this phone, and that's neat. This essentially is your normal brick phone, and when you want to use it as a bigger display, you have a bigger display. You also could multitask on this phone, so you would have a split screen view. All you had to do is drop down and it will give you an option of putting two different apps. You could also have 3 apps, and you can jumble between all those 3 apps running simultaneously. Like you could be watching a YouTube video on one side, and the other side you could possibly be making notes, and on the other hand you could also be running a live chat with your friends. So it was a very usable display. If you're a person who likes reading as well, a nice good screen to have. But also for the fact that it's also supported or powered by a Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, because of which it was just snappy to use. My color grades were proper. When I wanted to export the images, it was nice and snappy. Overall, it was a very nice experience to use this screen on the go to edit my images. And I think that's a very good balance between how the phone can be used, and if not required, can be just folded away and be used as a regular brick phone. I was under the impression they must have cut corners somewhere. Maybe there's no wireless charging, but there is. There is 50 watts of fast wireless charging on this, and the wired is 80 watts. You can charge the battery from 0 to 100 wired in 50 minutes. There are other brands who can't even pull off 50 watts of wired charging, and they're doing wireless charging of 50 watts. That's crazy. This is also a 5600 milliampere carbon silicon based battery, because of which it can retain a higher density of power, all while maintaining a stable battery life. It's more than 2 days that I've charged this phone, and it's still saying that I have about 9 hours to go in usage. So yeah, this has been a fairly light usage because of transitioning between this phone and another phone. But if I do use this as my primary phone, I'm still easily getting 1.5 days. That's with power usage. And if I don't use it that well, maybe 2-3 days is easy. It's a cakewalk. So they haven't even compromised on that. But what about the cameras? You have a 50 megapixel primary sensor. There's a 50 megapixel telephoto or a periscope zoom camera lens. There's also an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens. That was not enough. There are 2 more cameras. There's one on the inside, which is an 8 megapixel sensor, and then on the outside, which is another 8 megapixel sensor. So in all, there are 5 camera lenses, 2 for selfies, depending on which front display you're using, and then on the primary, there are 3 sensors. They're all tuned by Hasselblad for color science, and they have done a beautiful job. So overall, even after 6 months of being out in the market, the Oppo Find N5 is still a very strong contender to beat out. Yes, it's not cheap. It's 8,000 dirhams. But what do you get for 8,000 dirhams? You don't just get something that is probably going to be on the trend of folding phones. You actually get a usable folding phone with 2 usable screens, with a brilliant battery power, is enough and more GPU and CPU output that is given by the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. And then to support all of that, there's good UFS 4.0 storage, which is a high-speed storage. So on this one, there's 512 gigs of storage with 16 gigs of RAM. No matter what processors we were throwing at it, it was handling it. I was using Lightroom on it to edit my raw images. If that doesn't say enough, I don't think there's anything else that would convince you. So for me, the Oppo Find N5 is still a very strong contender, and it's definitely worth your money if you are planning to invest on a folding phone in 2025. This is Aurelius from the Cornea Impression signing off. You guys have a good evening.